Hengistbury Head is one of the most unique ancient sites in the UK, boasting over 12,500 years of continuous human habitation and use. In this time, glaciers have moved, rivers have become oceans, and people like you and I have lived, struggled, smiled, and mourned on this headland. Every year, 1 million people visit Hengistbury Head, the majority unknowingly walking in the footsteps of their ancestors. This project, Performing the Past, aims to bring that story to life and bring you closer to our shared ancestral heritage. In its earliest times, 12,500 years ago, Hengistbury Head was a Stone Age hunting-gathering campsite, where nomadic people camped and tracked the movement of game through a great river valley which now lies underneath the Channel Sea. Woolly mammoths roamed the land, and northern Britain and Europe lay under a giant glacier. The weather was bitterly cold. The Channel Sea was a huge river valley which supported lush vegetation and herds of horse and reindeer. Atop Warren Hill, Paleolithic men, women and children would track the herds, plan, prepare stone tools and go down into the valley to hunt. Alongside the local vegetation, the hunted horse and reindeer would provide them with all of the materials they needed to survive. Nothing was wasted. Fast forward 8,000 years, and the people at Hengistbury are part of a technological revolution, the beginning of agriculture. The domestication of plants and animals, the wholesale clearing of forest with stone axes and tools, and the development of pottery and a sedentary lifestyle more akin to how we live today than to their ancestors. But 500 years later, the use of Hengistbury was to change again. In the Bronze Age, no settlements can be seen, and instead the land is given over to use as a necropolis, a cemetery for the dead. Burial mounds spot the landscape from the top of Warren Hill to the bottom of the headland. It was a special place, a place for their ancestors and a place to lay the dead to rest. This tradition continued for 700 years. Life returned to Hengistbury Head in a wave. Over the next 800 years, a huge earth bank and ditch was dug across the headland, separating it from the mainland, and a large settlement of round thatched houses grew to cover the lower slopes of Warren Hill. Inside the settlement, an entire community lived, and many new crafts and materials were practiced by the people at Hengistbury Head. Towards the end of the Iron Age, Hengistbury exploded into an international port of trade, one of the earliest in Britain. Through the natural harbour at Hengistbury, strange new people and never-before-seen goods and materials like glass, wine and olive oil were imported from the continent and further afield, and traded for local items like pottery, salt, precious metals, and likely slaves and hunting dogs. The explosion of activity ended soon after the Roman conquest of Britain, and trade shifted elsewhere. Life on the headland falls largely silent until the modern era. In 2013, the Hengistbury Head Visitor Centre was opened to celebrate the internationally important archaeology, geology and wildlife. It is now home to many of the important archaeological collections housed in displays, videos and interactive exhibitions. It's a base for volunteers, staff and research, and it welcomes over 150,000 visitors every year. But this is only another beginning in the history of Hengistbury Head, one which we want you to become a part of. We've developed this project, Performing the Past, which is funded by the Heritage Fund, which aims to engage local people in the crafts and materials used by their ancestors who lived on Hengistbury Head. We use experimental archaeology to replicate the methods ancient people used to shape the world around them. And we do this by running demonstrations and hands-on workshops on different ancient crafts.
You have a sense of how it works, but until you actually make it, feel the materials, feel the wool, feel the flint, feel the heat, the cold, it's giving people information in a really tangible and fun way. Have a go and see what it feels like and experience what the people in the past experienced and be part of a community of people.
It's just a brilliant way to be outdoors, meet people. Something like this just brings it alive, you get hands-on. Personally, it's kind of like giving me my life back. I can't praise it enough.
We want you to become the legacy of this project. Ambassadors for the amazing archaeology of Hengistbury Head, to pass on this knowledge to the next generation of visitors, to become the link with the past by performing the past. Please join us.